All right, welcome to step 10, subpart B. We've let this putty sit and dry overnight. I'm going through with my 120 grit to work on getting that cleaned up. And I should turn the light on so you guys can see better. There we go. Now, you can be as aggressive or slow as you want on this. I'm just aiming for getting this cleaned up so we can see how bad the damage was without trying to impart any sort of flat edge to this or grinding down the straps too much. One thing that I am now going to do, now that I've taken a look at this, is I'm going to go into my CAD program. I use FreeCAD in particular, and I'm going to make up a set of new fuel tanks as a direct replacement, basically drop-in replacement for this, that can be 3D printed. And if you join my Patreon at the $25 a month level, you'll be able to access those fuel tanks. So if that's anything that interests you at all, go ahead and check out my Patreon. Now, if you're not interested in the file, but you just want to buy a set of the fuel tanks after I'm done making them, then at that point I will direct you to the Sam Models website. You can find that online at sammodels.com, and they will be for sale, 3D printed up and mailed to you. So you don't have to have a 3D printer. You don't need to do anything, and you can still get a hold of the parts. But I don't have them available yet. Got to work on them. So now that I've done it with the 120, I'm going to go back through with the 180 just to get rid of any of the larger scratches, kind of touch it up a little bit, make it look good. So at this point, I want to show that when you put the fuel tanks on, or the fuel tank on for the passenger side, as such, the fuel cap is actually in what is roughly the correct direction. So here's kind of the difference between them. Is one is correct, one is too far down and should probably be more like this, but then the wheels are wrong and you can't line up the straps. So all that in mind, what I'm going to do now is set up the steps on the side so that they are actually in line the way I want them, but with that cap up where it belongs, with everything organized. So yeah, Hobby Boss kind of messed up on the instructions here. Now, one thing that I have not done is I've not gone through and cleaned up the area after I pulled it off. I'm not going to be too particular about this because when I put the glue in, that'll soften it up again. Double check that's in the right spot. That looks good. So this first one, the top step, looks like it's almost at the point of the top of the bottom step before. So in a way, this is kind of nice. It gives you a clearer idea of where this piece goes. So with that in mind, I can put that there and show you just how far off the setup is in the instructions. But this also gives me an idea of where I can put the second one, and it looks like right in this area is good. So I'm going to take it, I'm going to glue it right where I want to put it. Looks like it's right on the seam there. I'm going to emplace that, and yeah, that's about perfect. So my advice is, when you are putting this together, for the short side, that you put the top step on the short side just about the full length above the, or one full step length, or put the bottom corners of these triangular side braces right where you'd put the top of the bottom piece from before, and then the bottom piece pretty much goes right on the seam right there, just above it. And that should give us what we want. Now I'm putting extra glue in there just to get everything all nice and tidy. Should look good. And again, I'm looking at it this way. There's a little bit of a step up on this piece, but using the instructions, that's lined up. So at this point in time, with this change and modification, we now have the small oil tank correct, and we are at this point going to accept that the large oil tank is just going to have the fuel cap in the incorrect position. Again, I'm going to 3D CAD draw these fuel tanks up with the caps in the right spot, and probably with the step framing all printed on, and all that would have to be added are the photo etch parts for the steps. And it'll be more accurate in that I'm going to try and have it so that it's hollow in there like the real thing. We'll see how that goes, so stay tuned for information based on that. I should have it done by the time we get to the step where we add on the fuel tanks. So with that, I will see you later.